family has taught me that how important it is to have a stable income and a steady job. That was like one of the first things that I learned when starting to work. And my dad, for example, he had 3 jobs to provide for our family. So it was very important to have a stable job. When 7 years ago, I was working as a full-time employee for a company as a graphic designer. And I didn't really like my job at all. I was overworked and I was underappreciated and I didn't really see it go anywhere. I really wanted to be a web designer and none of the companies that I worked for the couple of years before that actually gave me a chance to do that. So what was I going to do? Stay in that job? Well, one of the alternatives was going to be to become a freelancer. But that seemed very scary because I've never done it before and that meant not having a stable income. So one day I worked another late night and I was really, really unhappy with my job. And at the time I didn't really get any extra pay for working overtime. So I just walked into my boss's office and I quit my job. But it was an irrational decision and I didn't really know what it meant to be a freelancer. So it was my first time being a freelancer. So basically, quitting my job from one day to the other was a really stupid idea at the time. And I didn't really know what I was doing. But it was scarier to, another thing was scarier. It was scarier to stay in a job that I was unhappy in. And I didn't really feel it was going anywhere and I felt like I was wasting my time. So today, I want to share the 3 most important lessons learned while being a freelancer with you, so you will not make all the thousands of mistakes that I made in the past 7 years, and you will get a bit of a head start. Lesson number 1, improve your skills. I think it's a given, but I want to stress it more again. If you don't keep up with technology and the latest trends today, then you will be out of a job tomorrow. It's so important, and especially in this industry because there's so much that changes all the time, new technologies, new trends, new ways of doing things. It's super important. And you can never stop learning, especially as a freelancer. I feel we need to really be up to date. If you work for a company, they will push you, but if you are a freelancer, you have to push yourself. So what I do is I schedule time to learn every week something new or improve my skills in this particular sector. I block out 2 hours every week. I do Tuesdays from 10 in the morning to noon that I dedicate to learning new skills. And if you think about it, I love having lists. So I have all these different lists. And I have one list for things that I want to learn, whether it is a new skill or a new programming language or learn about a new trend. And I just add to the list. And the list keeps getting longer and longer, and I don't actually commit to any of it. So about a year ago, I just started to do this, carve out 2 hours a week, and started to tick off things off the list. So if you think about the list, I'm sure there's one thing that you've been wanting to learn for a long time, but you haven't actually tackled it. So I would like to invite you to commit to that one thing and schedule a time this week and start learning that new thing. So if you do that, you will get a head start. Once you start it, it will actually help you to commit to it. It's basically like watching your favorite TV show every week. You find time to watch Game of Thrones or Big Bang Theory or whatever you watch. You find that 1 hour or 2 hours a week to watch it. So you can find another hour to dedicate to skills learning. What's happening? Oh, sorry. I'm actually going to where to learn new skills. That's actually pretty easy. There's tons of resources out there, obviously tons of blog posts, but there's also very good resources and websites where you can learn specific skills in a very interactive way. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. I love Code Academy because it is interactive. It will show you your progress and it gives you specific tasks. And while you're completing a task, it will explain why, and you do the task. So you're learning by doing it rather than just listening or reading a blog post. They have tons of different courses. They have HTML, CSS, they have PHP, JavaScript, SQL, Angular, Git. They have tons of different ones. And even a complete beginner can just jump in and learn a new skill. There's also lynda.com, which is not free. So going back to Code Academy is completely free. Lynda.com is a premium service, but lynda.com is also great because it has a library of different things, not just development related. They have marketing, SEO, design topics, all sorts of different courses. They're all video based. So if you like to watch videos and follow along, that's great. They also have course files, so you can also practice while you're following along the course. And WordPress.tv is also a really good source. I love when I have like half an hour where I'm waiting for a client to get back to me, I just go on WordPress.tv and I watch a talk from a previous WordCamp that has been recorded of something that I might want to learn more about. And during the talks, you always hear new things, and then you can look those up, so you learn more things, and you stay up to date. Another big thing that you probably have heard about in the past is the REST API. It's a new hot topic in the WordPress community, and it's basically WordPress is moving more towards using JavaScript to render the front end. So that's naturally something that I want to learn more about. To learn that, there's a couple different ways. Not sure if you know Zach Gordon, but he's an amazing teacher, and he's putting together this new JavaScript for WordPress master course, where you learn all the skills of how to use JavaScript specifically for WordPress and how to use the REST API. So I would recommend, if you're interested in learning more about that, you can check it out. I think they're opening up registration again for the class this month, so that'd be a good way. Another thing that I would like to mention is Day of Rest, which is a conference specifically created from the people that built the REST API. So it's going to be the experts will teach you how to use the REST API, what it is, different use cases, and it's an event. There was one in London in January, and the next one is in Boston in October, but there's going to be more events coming up. So it's really great. Another great way to learn and improve your skills is to contribute to WordPress. If you've attended Rocio's talk this morning, you have already learned a lot of different ways to contribute to WordPress and the benefits about it, but I just want to go into a couple of ones that are near and dear to me because they help me as a freelancer get better at these skills. Basically, the biggest thing that take away from me from contributing to WordPress is that while I contribute, I learn new things. I interact with people that are amazing and great at what they do, experts in our field, and I learn new things all the time. Also, for example, if I'm really interested in learning more about accessibility, I start contributing to the accessibility team because that's the place where you learn everything there is to know about accessibility. So you improve your skills in a very specific sector. Also, if you are a developer and you contribute to core or write a plugin and people will review your plugin before it goes into the repository, you improve your coding skills because somebody will review your plugin and will give you feedback. If you want to learn more about how to contribute, you can go to make.wordpress.org and find a team. There's tons of teams out there. Like I said, you can contribute to code, you can contribute to support. If you don't, if you're not sure what to, you can contribute to translations. I think there is a locale for Basque, but I think there will be good for more people to contribute to that, because I think it's not quite where it would be nice to be at. So that would be amazing. You can contribute to the support forum, many different ways. And we do have a contributor day tomorrow, so I would like to invite you all to come and join us tomorrow and contribute to the team. Another great way for me to improve my skills was to connect to the WordPress community. Similarly to contributing to WordPress, also you connect to people, you ask questions, everybody's super helpful. The WordPress community is such an open and welcoming space, as you know, because you're here today and you're meeting a lot of new people. You can learn so much from other people. And for me, I travel a lot, so I go to a lot of WordCamps. I also attend local meetups. You are all here today, this WordCamp today, but I'm hoping that you also participate in going to your local meetup on a regular basis. There's 80 plus WordCamps around the world every year, and the number is growing. I heard that next year in Spain there are at least 10 WordCamps, which is amazing. Growing so fast, all the communities around the world. And there's WordCamp Europe that I'm going to be attending as well. Anybody else is going to WordCamp Europe? Great. Yes. So I'll see you there. If WordCamp Europe is basically the biggest WordCamp in Europe. It brings together all the different communities, and this year is going to be 2,200 people, so it's going to be massive. I'm going to be speaking. I'm excited. And so there's one every year. If you're not going to make it this year, I would highly recommend that you check it out next year, because it's a great opportunity to meet all these people that you might have met online already through Twitter or Slack, and they're all going to, a lot of them are going to be there. The biggest takeaway for me from meeting the WordPress community all over the world is that whoever you meet, somebody can always teach you something. In a conversation, when you have a question, you can ask. You can help other people, so if somebody asks a question, they can help you. You can help them. So it's a really welcoming community, and I love that about it. So I would invite you to make sure to attend your local meetups on a regular basis. If you can speak at one, I'm sure you have something to share. That would be great to continue to foster the community. If there's no meetups in your vicinity or in your town, in your city, I would encourage you to start a meetup, because there's always more people joining WordPress or using WordPress, and the community is growing. So, again, makeTheWordPress.org is the place to find more about the community, and you can join the community too. Another big lesson learned for me is I need to communicate my skills. So I'd like to invite you to imagine there's this store on your way to work. It just opened. It has a name on the building, but you cannot see inside the store. You walk by it every day, but you have no idea what the store is selling or offering. So maybe you see the store owner, but he doesn't communicate anything. Most likely you're never going to go into the store, so you'll never find out. And then a month later the store is going to close, because nobody goes in and nobody buys anything, so they can't sustain the business. Similarly with your business, if people don't know what exactly it is you do, how you can bring value to their company or to their brand, they're not going to hire you. You need to clearly communicate what it is you do. So if a potential client does not understand what your skills are and how you can bring value to their business, how you can help them, they will not hire you. I'd like to talk a little bit about the differences in culture for freelancers between the US and Europe, because I'm German and from Europe, but I've been living in New York for 7 years. So I kind of got a bit of both. American freelancers, when they talk about their work, to us Europeans it might sound like they brag. Whereas Europeans, we're humble. We don't like to say, oh, I'm the best, I'm amazing, like this is what I do. We're more like, yeah, I do this and I'm good at that. But Americans are very open in communicating what they're good at. And I think we can learn something from them. Because if you don't communicate exactly what you do, nobody will know. Whether this is in person, when you actually talk to somebody, even here at WordCamp, when you talk to other people, talk about what you actually do, like the things that you specialize in. Not just like, oh, I develop websites. Most of us do. But talk about exactly what you do. Like, what are you good at? Are you good at multi-site? Are you good at e-commerce? Are you really good at client communication? Are you really good at finding that one problem that the client has and really presenting it on a website in a really good way? This was my old website up until almost a year ago. So it was more like a typical portfolio website. It had like some of my past work, didn't really have an About Me page, didn't have a picture of me on the website, which is not important, it's super important, but at the same time, if somebody can put a face to your name, a personality, it helps. It's like how your brand is perceived. And none of these basically pretty pictures of home pages that I created communicated exactly what it was that I did. I created them, but they didn't know how much in depth, I didn't know anything about my process, and that was a problem. And I only realized this when one of my clients who I've been working with for a couple of years on a specific aspect of the project, basically I helped him, I had designed the front end of his website, but I had all accumulated over the years, all these skills in digital strategy, in user experience design and all that. And he came to me and he said, I don't really know what exactly you do, like everything that you do, and please explain it to me because I really want to make sure that I can take full advantage of your full skill set. So I'm like, yeah, he's right. I don't actually communicate that, and if you don't communicate that, you will attract the wrong clients. And that's what happened to me. Most of the clients and client requests that I got through my old website were low budget, no fun, and they were people that wanted rush jobs, all of the three things that I didn't want to do. Quite the opposite, actually. And that was a big problem. And that was because I didn't communicate. So my skills, like I said, they developed over the years. I often took on projects that were more demanding, that meant that I needed to learn new skills. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to improve my skills, but I didn't communicate that on my website. My old website was live for 3 years almost, which is way too crazy old. Even though I added new portfolio pieces, but I didn't add new skills to the website. And most important, you need to communicate the value. So you should not just list, oh, I do digital strategy, I do user experience design, I do e-commerce. You need to use the language on your website to communicate the value. So what is your client actually receiving? Not just a website, a way to make more money through e-commerce, or a way to reach more customers, or a way for them to be more international if you add new languages and make it internationalized and stuff like that. This is my new website. Put the face to the name and clearly communicate what I do. Like, I help businesses create unique online experience that connect deeply with their customers. So I use a lot of the user experience and the strategy to tailor the content to what the client's goals are. So it's very different than just creating a pretty website. So I differentiate myself in that way, and I now communicate it. So what happened? Before, I got about 10 to 15 client requests every week through my website. After launching this, I got maybe 2. And at first it was scary, and I'm like, oh, does that mean I'm going to make less money just because I have a new website? Does it intimidate some types of clients to reach out to me because maybe now this looks like I'm charging more? Yes, all that, but it's a good thing actually. Because finally, I was reaching the clients that were right for me. Finally, I was reaching clients that wanted to pay for good value. So in the end, it was a good thing. I would like to invite you to be a little bit more like an American freelancer, in the sense that tell people how good you are is exactly the thing that you do best. Don't be shy. Alright, last lesson 3. Choose your clients wisely. Big lesson for me learned, because if you're a freelancer and you start out, you take on all the projects because you want to make money. And sometimes you take on too many projects, and that means you work crazy hours and weekends and everything. And I did all that. I didn't enjoy it because oftentimes I worked on projects that I didn't really want to put on my portfolio, which was a big problem for me, because you're building up your portfolio while you're working on low budget projects at the beginning. But a freelance is defined by the projects you decline more than the projects you do. So the projects that you don't do define you actually more than the projects that you do, because if you're able to not take on the projects that you don't like working on, most likely those same types of client will not come back because they don't see that you did that kind of project before already. This was a project that I worked on for an artist a couple of years ago, and she had a low budget, so I took it on because it sounded like from the initial conversations that it was going to be a quick turnaround project. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do it quick. Problem was halfway through the development process, she had some design ideas, and I wanted to do a good job and be a good freelancer and help her with those requests, and she kept changing the design to the point where I wasn't happy at the end. She was. But I wasn't, because this was yet another project that I did not want to put on my portfolio and actually didn't put on my portfolio. It took me 3 times as long as I thought it was going to take me. I didn't get any more money, and it was a lose-lose situation. If you feel like the client does not trust you, it's not fun, because I want to work with people that I feel like they trust me, that I feel like I'm bringing value to them, and that they love the process of working with me. I want to work with passionate people, with small business owners who are excited to work with me. This is what lifts my heart. This is why I want to get up in the morning. I don't want to get up and like, oh, I don't want to work on this project again, because this is like sucking my soul. It's just, I just can't. So through changing the language on my website, through communicating my skill set better, I attracted actually the right kind of clients. So this is a website that I launched recently. It's from a renowned WordPress and BuddyPress developer, Gorgas, if you know him. He scaled up under a new name, and he needed branding, he needed content strategy, and a design, and then I also developed it for him. And this was such a fun project. Why? Because he trusted me. The communication of the project from the beginning was very, very clear. I was able to ask all the questions, he was able to give very clear direction what he wanted, not so much on a design level, but like overall, like what kind of clients he wanted to reach and what his goals were, and that was very helpful. And then he just let me run with it. He gave me creative freedom, which I love. And that, to me, is the perfect project. Communication, trust, and collaboration. Most of all, collaboration, because you feel like you're in it together, and you want to create a great product together. So clearly defining your ideal client to make sure that you're a good match that they're a good match for your skill set and for your personality will help you determine to not work with people that you're not enjoying working with. So looking back, quitting my job from one day to the other was a crazy idea. It was not the best idea, especially because it took me at least 2 years of working crazy hours and weekends. But I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned a lot. And it helped me to communicate my skills, to learn new skills, and then to also make sure that I work with the right clients to live a happier life of a freelancer. And this is basically what I think and what I'm hoping I inspire you to as well. Right now I'm a location-independent freelancer. All these things, being able to choose my projects, helps me to work from anywhere in the world. This is why I'm here in Bilbao right now, because I love traveling to WordCamps. I love traveling to different places, and this is how I combine going to a WordCamp and also meeting the local community, as well as exploring a new place. Today I only work on fun projects and with amazing people. It took me a long time to get here, but I'm hoping that some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way will help you not to make the same mistakes. So I would like to invite you to make a list of all the projects that you worked on in the last year, and then to rank them by how good you feel about them. The project itself and how it was working with the type of client. And then I'd like to invite you to, whoever is at the bottom of the list, to drop this client, or to never work with the same type of client again. It will make you happier, and it will redefine the type of freelancer that you are. Happiness is the highest level of success, and you should be a happy freelancer.